Good morning and welcome to another exciting session on Unacademy Catalyst. In today's session, we are going to talk about some of the alternate ways which are easier, which are unique, but these are definitely out of the box approaches to solve LRDI caselets. And I call them these are the best ways of solving caselets, the tough ones. Okay, so 15 minutes and we are going to do some amazing caselets. But as always, the first thing that I'm going to tell you is give me 10 seconds to ensure that I'm streaming live before we get started with today's session. Perfect. We are streaming live and I think we are good to start. Let's get started. So I call it the box approach, box and line approach of solving difficult LRDI caselets. So a very unique way, but it comes in really handy. Box and line approach. Box and line approach is what we are going to discuss in this session. So let's look at a caselet. A caselet which is really difficult, but if you apply this method, it's going to be really fast. Let's look at the question. The table given below provides the data about GDP, PCI, which is per capita income, and LR, literacy rate of 150 countries surveyed in the year 2019. For any particular value of GDP given in the first column in table, the corresponding value in the second column gives the number of countries whose GDP is more than that value. So please make sure that you understand what is given in the data. Let's look at an example. Let's look at the first value, the GDP. So what they are saying, this is basically a survey of countries, right? A survey of countries. How many countries? 150 countries. So let's look at the number 100. So what they are saying, in the world, there are a total of 150 countries whose GDP is more than 100 billion. Similarly, if you look at the next number, 200. In the world, there are a total of 129 countries whose GDP is more than 200 billion. So if I were to ask you how many countries have GDP between 100 to 200, what will you say? You will say 150 minus 129, 21 countries. So it's very easy to understand. Let's look at another number. Let's say this 600 and this 72. What does this indicate? There are a total of 72 countries whose GDP is more than 600 billion. I hope you understand. Similarly, read the data for PCI and LR. So what is PCI? PCI is per capita income. LR is the literacy rate. That's defined in your question. So can I take an example? Let's look at this number 4. So what does this indicate? Out of all the surveyed countries, there are a total of 140 countries whose PCI is more than 4,000. Why I say 4? Because you see these numbers are in 1,000. Similarly, if you look at this number, let's say 18. What does it indicate? There are a total of 36 countries in the world whose PCI is more than 18,000. And the same for LR. So if you have this 50, what will this 50 indicate? There are a total of 69 countries in the world whose literacy rate is greater than 50%. So I think you understand how to read this graph. Now if you understand that, the next part is how to solve this question. And the questions were really difficult. This has been picked up from a previous year mock paper. Let's look at the questions. Now before that, it is also known that among any two countries, the country with the higher GDP always has higher PCI and higher literacy rate. Okay, so that's the first part of it. And then there are three parts. So question number 1 is basically repeated out here. So I'll read it basically from here. Okay. Now please bear with me. This line is the crux of your paragraph. Crux of the paragraph. It is also known that among any two countries, country with higher GDP always has higher PCI and higher LR. So let's take an example. Probably America, the richest country in the world, right? So what does it mean? It will have the higher GDP. Now, if any country like America has a higher GDP, it also means that particular country will have the higher PCI, a per capita income, and a higher literacy rate. So in terms of our table, let's say America lies here. Let's take an example. Let's say America lies here. Then you know what? It means for PCI also, for the per capita income also, America would lie at the very best case scenario. Similarly, literacy rate of America would also be the highest. So you can imagine, like, the richest countries of the world, if they have a higher GDP, they will also have a higher PCI, and in turn, they will have a higher literacy rate. Now let's look at this very, very unique approach. A very, very unique approach that I'm going to teach you here. Now what will I do? Let's draw a line. Let's draw a box. I call this the box and line method. Okay, the box and line method. Let's look at the first question. What is, so basically this part is the same. Okay, this is same. So the question I'm repeating here. What is the number of countries? So you are looking at the number of countries whose GDP is more than 400 and PCI is not more. When I say not more, I mean less than equal to. Question number 1. Not more means less than equal to 12,000. Perfect. Now let's look at it. How many countries are there? Let's look at it. So look at this number, GDP greater than 400. Which is these countries? This is your number. This is your corresponding number. How many countries are there? A total of 104 countries exist in the world whose GDP is more than 400. So can I draw a line? So 1 to 104. 1 to 104. Total how many countries are there? Remember, the total number of surveyed countries is 150. So let's say I will take this country 1 and let's say this is country 150. I'm ranking the countries. Let's say 1, 2, 3 and so on. So I can assume that these are the richest countries of the world. Hence they are ranked number 1. And let's say these are the poorest countries of the world and hence they are ranked at the very bottom. Okay. So a total of 104 countries in the world have GDP greater than 400. So these must be the top 404 countries of the world. Now next is per capita income. What is PCI? Per capita income. It is less than 12,000. Bad. Per capita income is less than 12,000, which is bad. So let's look at our figure. In our figure, where is this 12? Out here. Can you see? It's in thousands. So basically this number is 12,000. That's what is asked in the question. And what does the table give you? Remember, the table gives you, what does the table give you? Corresponding value in the second column gives the number of countries whose GDP is more than that value. Perfect. Similarly, read for PCI and LR. So it means a total of 80 countries in the world have PCI greater than 12,000. Greater. Okay, greater. But my question is asking me lesser. So what will I do? Just the reverse. So if 80 countries have PCI more than 12,000, the remaining countries, total how many countries have I surveyed? 150. So how many remaining countries are there? 150 minus 80, which is 70. So these must be the bottom 70 countries of the world. When I say bottom 70 countries, it must be from rank 81 to rank 150. Perfect. And you have got your answer. So what's your answer? You are looking at those countries which satisfies both the conditions. So which country satisfies both the condition? Can you see this? This is the range. This is the range of countries which satisfies both the conditions. So what's your answer? Country rank 81 to 104. 81 to 104. Hence your answer for the first one is 24. Hence your answer for the first one is 24. Did you get it? We are going to do more questions. Don't worry. But this is a terrific method of solving sums. Amazing, awesome method. Let's look at the second one. We do 2-3 questions and then you will get comfortable. Okay. Let's look at the second question. Now let's look at the second question. Okay. What is the second question asking? Number of countries whose GDP is more than 800. So GDP, they are saying greater than 800. PCI is more than 12,000. So per capita income should be greater than 12,000. And LR is not more than. When I say not more than, it means less than or equal to 70%. Less than or equal to 70%. This is what your diagram has to be. The three conditions need to be satisfied. Okay, let's check this. So remember, my world has how many countries? I have surveyed a total of 150 countries. Can you see this? A total of 150 countries were surveyed. So can I put down the countries? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm putting them in order 150. So country 1 is my richest country and country 150 is my poorest country. Okay, let's get started. GDP greater than 800. How many countries are there? Come back to your table. Okay, this is the 800. I locate the 800 and you know what? A total of 52 countries had GDP greater than 800. So obviously, when I say 52, I mean to say the richest countries of the world, right? The best countries, the richest countries like the Americas will have GDP greater than 800. So top 52 countries of the world. Let's draw a line. So country rank 1 to rank 52 will have GDP greater than 800. What is the next condition the question says? Remember, we are doing question number 2. The next condition the question says is PCI should be greater than 12,000. So how many countries locate the PCI greater than 12,000? 12 is this. Remember, these are in thousands. So this is the 12,000. So how many countries exist whose PCI is greater than 12,000? 80 countries. 80 countries. So per capita income greater than 12,000 is 80 countries. Obviously, these must be the richest countries of the world, the best countries of the world. So I will say country rank 1 to country rank 80. A total of 80 countries. 1 to 80. Next. The third condition the question asked me was literacy rate is less than 70%. 70%. Okay. Come back to the green color table. You know what? Literacy rate is this number, 70. But what is the table indicating? Remember, the table is indicating the values which are greater than this. Values which are greater than this. I hope you have not forgotten. The corresponding value in the second column gives the number of countries whose GDP is more than that value. I hope you are reading this correctly. Similarly, read data for PCI and LR. So it means literacy rate greater than 70% is how many countries? 42. Greater than 70%. But the question is just asking you the opposite. It is saying less than 70. Tell me less than 70. So very simple. Leave aside these 42 countries, right? Leave aside these 42 countries. All the remaining countries will have literacy rate less than 70%. Will you agree? All the remaining countries. How many countries are there in my question? A total of 150 countries. So if you exclude the top 42 countries whose LR is greater than 70%, the remaining. So basically rank 43 to the last. Rank 43 to the last. So 43 to the last. Can you see? Perfect. Now the question is telling me, give me a count of all the countries which satisfies the three conditions. So it's very easy. Just look at the region which is overlapping, intersection of three lines. Intersection or common to three lines. Which is the region common to three lines? Can I say this is the region? Can I say this is the region? Yes. So what is this region? 43 to 32. To 52. Sorry, 43 to 52. How many countries are there? 10. How many countries? Rank 43 to rank 52. How many countries are there? 10 countries. Remember, this is not 9, this is 10. 43 to 50 is 8 countries plus 51 plus 52 makes it 10. So a total of 10 countries in the world exist which satisfies all the three conditions as asked in question number 2. So your answer for the second one is 10. Got it? I hope it's a very easy and effective way. If you're able to understand this, this is a super awesome technique which will help you to solve any type of sum. Let's look at question number 3 now. Question 3. How many countries are there whose GDP is more than 200? So GDP is greater than 200 but not more than 700. GDP is not more, meaning less than. So less than 700. LR is more than 20%. So LR is greater than 20%, right? But not more than 60%. But LR should also be less than 60%. So I need a count of these countries. Count of countries which satisfies all these 4 conditions. Let's start. Let's start. Remember how many countries are there that I have surveyed? 150 countries. So let's put them in order. 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 till 150. So you know what? This is my richest country, richest, the Americas. And these are my poorest countries like the Pakistans. Perfect? Let's start. GDP is greater than 200. How many countries? GDP greater than 200. How many countries? A total of 129 countries. So obviously, these are the top countries, the richest countries of the world. So the top 129 countries of the world have a GDP greater than 200. Next, GDP is less than 700. How many countries? GDP less than 700. How many countries? 6. Remember, the table is giving me a count of countries where the GDP is more than 700. So more than 700 is 63. But you know what? The question is asking less than 700. So just the reverse, just the remaining countries, excluding the 63 countries, all the remaining countries. So remember, less than, meaning they are asking about the poorer countries. So the top 63 countries of the world have GDP greater than 700. So how many will have less? Country from 64 onwards, rank 64 onwards to the very last. Very last is 150 in our case. So 64 to 150. Next, LR is greater than 20%. Have a look. 20% greater than 20. So locate the figure here. This is 20. And you know what? Number of countries greater than 20% is how many? 126. 126. So these are the top 126 countries of the world. So country from rank 1 to rank 126. Perfect. And then look at the last one. LR is less than 60%. When I say less than 60%, where are the numbers? 60 and 50. Remember, the figure indicates, the table indicates the number of countries whose GDP is more than 60. So the 50 is number of countries whose LR is greater than 60%. But the question is just asking you the reverse, less than 60%. So it means excluding these 50 countries, all the remaining countries, how many are remaining? Country rank 51 to country rank 150, the poorer countries of the world. So 51 to the last. 51 to 150. Yes. Now they are saying, give me a count of all the countries which satisfies all the 4 conditions. All the 4 conditions. So it's very easy. You are looking at that part of the figure which is common to all the 4 lines. Which is common to all the 4 lines. So where is that part? Where is that part? This is the part. This is the part. Can you see this? This is the part. So what will be your answer? Your answer is 64 to 126. How many countries? 64 to 126, a total of 63 countries. So that's gonna be your answer. Answer for the third one is 63. Did you get it? So such caselets, right? A lot of caselets. These are the best ways, the easiest ways of solving LRDI caselets. A lot of times, because there is a lot of pressure in the exam, viewing it or thinking it or imagining it is difficult. So just try to put it down in probably a diagrammatic form. Moment you put down the caselet in a diagrammatic form, it becomes very easy, because that way the pressure on your brain is less. It has everything in front of you, and there is very less way or probably minimal way of you making a mistake. So I hope you can replicate this technique. Where can you replicate this technique? Whenever there are overlapping cases. So such questions like whenever there are overlapping cases, instead of using a Venn diagram, try to just draw lines and solve the questions. I have also taken a lot of classes yesterday and day before in the last few days, where I have shown you more applications of the line method. Just by drawing lines, you can solve very tough LRDI caselets in the CAT. So hope you all enjoyed the session. Hope you all liked it. In case you have any queries, you can always post it in your comments and I'll be glad to answer them. So for more such sessions, please make sure that you visit Unacademy. There are a lot of free classes that I have taken. You can view my free classes, and if you like the free classes, you can always subscribe to Unacademy for complete A to Z coverage of your CAT quants, DILR and verbal and the verbal section. So complete coverage you can find in Unacademy. You can use my referral code Pariskhit Sakia. So if you, this is my name, even if you come on Unacademy, you can search by this name. You will get a lot of my free classes. And in case you want to subscribe, you can use my name as the referral code and you will get 10% off on the subscription fee. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you have liked the session. In case you have liked the session, do please hit the like button. That motivates me to make more and more videos. So till the next time, till tomorrow morning, please make sure that you stay safe and prepare well for the CAT. Thank you and goodbye.